So if you're stuck, I want you to look at my screen. I'll give you a little help. All right, so if you're stuck, look at my screen. I'll give you a little help. So the matrix M, the dimension is 3 rows, 2 columns. And then matrix N, 2 rows, 4 columns. Check to see if they have a solution. We'll look at the inner number. If the two inner numbers are the same, then yes, you have a solution. And the outer number is what you need. So you need new matrix be a 3x4 matrix. So it means 3 rows, 4 columns. Don't multiply this. This is not 3 times 4, guys. A couple of you guys tell me the answer is 12. I don't know what you're talking about. This is not a multiplication. This is 3 rows by 4 columns. Don't multiply it. Now draw an empty matrix with a dimension 3x4. So I need 3 rows and 4 columns. So your matrix should look something like this. 3 rows, 4 columns. And then for the upper left box, you need the first row. And we'll take our rows from the first matrix right here. And this is the first column. And we will take our column from the second matrix, and we need the first column. And then first number times first number, so -3 times 5 plus second number times second number, so 0 times 1. And then do the multiplication real fast. -3 times 5 is -15 plus 0 times 1 is 0. So that means your left, you have a -15. You have a -15. So I do want you guys to use a calculator on this, all right? Use a calculator on this to do all of those addition and multiplication. Use a calculator on this. Don't do it by hand. It's too time consuming. Hey, Hannah, check the second row, first column. This number right here. This number right here. Well, give you guys maybe another 2 minutes. All right, look, Emma. So this number is going to be, I'm going to put it right here. 8 times 5 plus -4 times 1. So you got 40 plus -4, which is 30. Where did I get those numbers from? All right, look. So if we are talking about this box right here, this is the second row. This is the second row, so we need the second row right here. And then this is the first, which means we need the first column right here. And then we're going to do first number times first number. So you have 8 times 5 plus the second number right here times the second number right here. So you have -4 times +1. I think you had the right number, but you did the calculation wrong. Like when I look at it, I think you got um, the numbers correct right here, but then when you do, oh no. This is 8 times 5. Yeah, but I think you do understand the overall principle of this, so that's good. That's good. So the good thing about matrix is that when you do a matrix, the good thing is you don't have to get every single number correct. As long as you got most of them correct, then you're good. Because it's multiple choice, right? If it's multiple choice, all you gotta do is find the correct answer. Whichever answers have most of the numbers, just like how you calculate it, and that's gonna be the correct answer. But I'm thinking about on the test, I will specifically ask you for a number. Like for example, I'll ask you like the what is the number on this box right here or something like that. I think I'll ask you guys something like all right. So I'm looking at you guys working on this. I think you guys probably need more practice on this, right? A couple of you guys got it correct, but then I also have quite a lot of you guys who really stuck. All right, so if you are still kind of stuck on this, I need you to look at some of our lectures past, or you can just YouTube it. Get on YouTube, search for matrix multiplication, because you guys are going to test on this for now, all right? In 2 weeks, right before Christmas break, you guys will have a test over this stuff. So I need you guys to understand how this works. All right, so I want to stop right here. So regardless of if you finish the whole thing or not, I want you guys to just stop right here, right? Stop right here. Yeah, this matrix is really huge. So if you want to do the whole thing, it'll take some time. But like I say, matrix, you don't have to get the whole thing correct. As long as you get most of them correct, that's good enough. So I'll give you the answer. The final answer should look something like this. This is the final answer. It should look something like that. So this is how your final answer should look like. So as long as you got most of the numbers correct, that's good enough. All right, so like I said, if you're still stuck on this, I see quite a lot of you guys who couldn't even do one step. So I need you guys to either look at some of the lectures that we had in the past, or look it up on YouTube, right? It's just going to be like a 5 minutes video. Listen to how people explain doing multiplication of things. All right, so we're going to do something new. Also, before we start, let me remind you guys, today is the last day. You can turn in all the work, right? So I see quite a lot of you guys are missing assignments, and I mean a lot. So I do see some of you guys trying to make it up, you're turning some late assignments, but most of you guys are still missing a lot of assignments. I have some students in this class who turns in absolutely nothing. So if you got me nothing, I don't even know what to put on the grade book because I got nothing. So I need you guys to turn in all the assignments on time so that you can get your credit. I want you guys to pass. I want you guys to pass this class so the next year you guys can move on. So do me a favor, do the homeworks, assignments, turn them in on time so that you can get your credit. All right, so moving on. Today we're going to talk about inverse matrix. So get your notebooks out. I want you guys to get your notebooks out and get ready. We're going to take some notes. And today, inverse matrix is actually slightly easier than the multiplication. So other classes, they finish early. So please do me a favor, let's pay attention and learn this real fast. So we are talking about inverse matrix. So the word inverse is basically kind of like saying opposite. All right, it's kind of like saying opposite. So we are trying to get the inverse of any matrix. So when I say opposite, I'm not trying to say something like I'm not saying positive, and then turn it into negative, something like that. This is not inverse, all right? Inverse is not positive turns into negative or negative turns into positive. That's not an inverse. So I want you guys to understand inverse. Inverse is something like this. If you have a number and you multiply by the inverse, outcome is going to be 1. So whatever number you start with, that is the original number, and then multiply it with the inverse of that number. You multiply that number with the inverse, you will get a positive 1. That's the definition of inverse. So inverse is the opposite of the original number. And when you multiply them together, you'll get a positive 1. That's the definition of inverse. Wait, you can't see my screen? Oh, wait. Is my screen working right now? Can you guys see it? Uh, let me unshare my screen and share it again. Yeah, if my screen for whatever reason is, not working, please let me know. All right. Sometimes I can't tell. All right, let me share it again. All right, Hazel, can you see my screen right now? Uh, Kirsten, is there any extra credit? Um, let me think of something, right? Let me think of something. As of right now, I don't have anything in mind, but let me think about it, all right? All right, so let's go back to the inverse here. All right, so once again, the inverse is a number, whatever number that is. You multiply it with the original, you get a 1. That's the definition of the inverse. So for whole number, whatever whole number that you have, inverse is very simple. A 1 over that number. The 1 over that number, when you multiply them together, you will get a 1. So that is how you get the inverse if I give you a whole number. It is as simple. You put a 1 over it, and that's it. But this time, we're trying to find the inverse of a matrix, and this is slightly different. All right, you don't have to write that, but just listen, all right? Just listen. You don't have to write this down. So first, I want you guys to understand what is identity matrix. So the identity matrix is a very special and unique matrix that consists of only 0 and 1. It is a very specific special matrix that consists of only 0 and 1. If you look at it, the ones are right here. They are right here is at a diagonal, right? So it goes this way, like this. All right, it goes down this way, not the other way around. It has to be from the upper left to the lower right. So all the ones are located at this diagonal from the upper left to the lower right. Everything else is 0. Everything is 0. It can be any size as long as the diagonal are 1 and everything else is 0. So basically, an identity matrix, it can be something like this, or it can be something like this, or it can be something like that, or it can be something like this. So it can go on forever, right? It can go on forever. Bottom line is right here, all my ones, everything else is 0. All right, that's the identity matrix. All right, why do we want this identity matrix? So if you still remember, matrix, we got it from equations, right? We got it from something like that. So when we first start talking about matrix, you look at a system of equations. something like this, all right? I'm just gonna make something up, something like that. And then we will pick the numbers out, the coefficient. We'll take the numbers out, and then we'll put a bracket around it, and that's your matrix. That's your matrix. So that's where the matrix comes from. Now I'm asking you, why do we want the identity matrix? Why do we want this very specific pattern? A one that goes like this. And the reason is, if you think about it, you can put the matrix like this next to equation. So it will look something like that. Looks something like this, right? It's going to look something like this. And this is exactly what we want. We want it like that because now the x is by itself and it's alone, right? We basically separate the x, and now we have only the x, and we have no y and we have no z. So we want to have all the variables by itself. So that is why we like the identity matrix. So now x by itself, we have just x, and then the next line right here, you have just the y. Last line, you have just the z. All right, and that is exactly what we want an identity matrix. But we're not going to, go too deep about this. I'm talking about it maybe something that's go to college to learn this again. All right, so now let's talk about inverse. So inverse matrix, like I said before, if you have an original matrix times the inverse matrix, the inverse of the original, you will equal to the identity matrix. Just like before, when I was talking about a number times the inverse, it will comes to 1. So this is the same idea, all right? This is the same idea. When you have the original matrix, multiply with the inverse matrix, you will get to the identity matrix, which is just, a bunch of ones right here. So it's the same idea. When you have a number, multiply with the inverse of that number, you will get to a 1. It is the exact same idea. And now we need to learn how to find inverse matrix right here. We need to learn how to find the inverse matrix right here. Right. All right, here are some rules for inverse matrix. You guys don't have to write down. I want you to just take a look. All right, just take a look. So just like multiplication of matrix or addition of matrix, there are some rules, and these are some that we have to follow. So the first rule is sometimes there's no inverse. All right, not every matrix has an inverse. There's a chance that there's no solution, right? Which is always a right. We love no solution. So there is a chance there's no solution. And then to have an inverse, the original matrix must be a square. So same number of rows and columns. All right, it has to be a square. Same numbers, rows and columns. All right, a 2 by 2, 3 by 3, 4 by 4, 5 by 5. Doesn't matter. It has to be a square. And then sometimes the inverse should be really ugly, like decimal or fraction. All right, even though the original was really nice. So the original can look really, really neat. I'm just making something up, all right? Maybe look at something like that, right? It can look really neat. But when you're trying to find an inverse, it could possibly look really weird. It could look like all kinds of weird stuff. So it happens, all right? It happens. So there's a chance that it will look fractions and decimals, and it's all right because it's normal. And then we will only do 2 by 2 inverse matrix class, all right? We'll only go up to 2, not anything bigger than that. All right, so to find the inverse, you guys are going to need a formula, and this is the formula that we use. I want you guys to write this down. This is the most important part of today's lesson. So write this down. You have to know about this. So either write it down in the picture. You need to know about this formula. To find the inverse, we will use this formula right here, and I will explain how to use this in just a minute. It's actually much easier than you thought. All right, so let's take a look at an example, and you'll know exactly how to use this formula. So, example, I want you to find inverse matrix of matrix A. I want you to find the inverse of matrix A. So I'm giving you matrix A right here, and I want you to find the opposite of it, the inverse of matrix A. And we will use this formula right here. And I to copy it down, we'll use this. So watch very carefully. It's much easier than you thought. All right, so the first step is take a look at right here. We have A, B, C, and D. I want you to find A, B, C, and D right here. This is your A, this is your B, this is your C, and then this is your D. I want you to find it and then write it down on the side. So A is 1, B is -1, C is -6, D is -3. Write down on the side. Find the A, B, C, and D. So your first step is to identify A, B, C, according to this right here. So good thing that they're in order, right? All right. Next step is I want you to plug the numbers into this part right here. Plug all the numbers in here. So I'm gonna write it down here. 1 over. I need A times D. I need A times D. So that means I need a 1 right here. 1 times D, which is -3. So I need 1 times -3 right here. And then minus, I need the B times C right here. So that means I need to have the B, which is -1, times C, which is -6. And then after that, I need to put a matrix right here. But if you look at the matrix, the orders are kind of scrambled, right? The orders are no longer the same as before. So be very careful. Orders changes. So the new order is going to be D on the upper left, D on the upper left. So that means I need a -3 right here. And then I need negative E. I need negative E on the upper right. So you gotta be very, very careful because I need negative E. That means I need a negative, and then the B is -1. So you will see a negative, negative, 1, you will see a negative 1, which you will turn it into a positive, because 2 negative equals to a positive. So now you have a positive 1. So this part always gets people wrong. So you got to be super careful. And then lower left, you need a minus C. You need a minus C or negative C. So you're gonna have negative, and then the C is negative 6. So that means you have a negative 6, which means you can combine the two negatives into a positive. So now you have a positive 6. And then the last number on the lower right, last number on the lower right, I need the A. Right? I don't have to do anything. Positive A. So I just put a 1 right here and I'm good. Just put a 1 right here and I'm good. All right, the next step is we are going to try to solve the bottom, this mess right here. All right, it looks pretty messy. We're going to solve the denominator right here. So we'll do it one part at a time. All right, do it one part at a time. So let's do this part first. 1 times negative 3. So 1 times negative 3 is going to be negative 3. And then I want you to leave the negative sign alone for now, all right? Leave it alone for now. We will solve this part right here. Negative 1 times negative 6. Negative 1 times negative 6 will get me a positive 6. And then now you put the negative sign back right here in between them. You will put the minus sign right here back in between them. All right, now I'm going to solve the bottom part right here. Negative minus 6 is going to be a negative 9. And then the last thing I have to do is multiply this number is outside the matrix with everything inside the matrix. All right, everything inside the matrix, these two times 1 over negative 9. So all the numbers need to multiply by this number right here, 1 over negative 9. So let's recall how to do multiplication with a fraction. All right, let's try to go back to middle school or elementary school. When you have a fraction, multiply with a whole number. The whole number will only multiply with the top. All right, leave the bottom alone. So let me say it again. The whole number is the number that you multiply with the top number. Leave the bottom alone. All right, you don't do anything. So that means you will have 3 times 1 the top, which is 3, and then keep the 9 right here. And then the two negative sign will become a positive sign. So that means your answer is 3 over 9. Which you can simplify into 1/3. You can simplify into 1/3. All right, let's keep going. So the 1, yes, is positive. Yes, because negative on the 1, 9 and the negative on the 3, it will become positive. 2 negative will get you a positive. All right, let's do the next part. All right, now negative 1, 9 times 1. So the number only goes to the top, all right? Only goes to the top. Oh, so that means you're going to get negative 1, 9 again, and you cannot simplify this any further. So that's it. All right, let's keep going. Negative 1, 9 times 6. 6 only goes to the top, all right? Only goes to the top. So that means 6 times 1, which is 6. Keep everything the same. And then simplify this into negative 2/3. Negative 2/3. And then the last part, 1 times negative 1 half is, same thing. Negative 1 half, and you cannot simplify any further. This is it. And that is final answer. It's the inverse. This is your final answer. So if you look at it and compare that with original, the original, this is such a mess. So you got fractions, you got negative, and you got all kind of weird numbers, but it is normal, right? This is how it's supposed to be. So when you see some numbers that are with fractions and decimal, don't be afraid because chances are you got it right. Right, so let me just quickly go over the steps again. First step is you have to identify numbers, the A, B, C, and D. You have to identify which number is A, B, C, and D according to this part right here. So this part tells you that A is right here, and then B, and then C, and then so you have to identify A, B, C, and D. So once you figure out A, B, C, and D, usually I will write it again, put it outside, and then I'm going to plug it into this formula right here. I'm going to plug it into this formula on the right here. And then next thing is just put the numbers in. Just put the numbers in A, B, C, and D, and then also fill in the matrix. So be very careful because the matrix, the order is scrambled. All right. The order right here is all scrambled. It's not the same as before. So you got to be very careful. So the orders are all scrambled. All right. So now I want you guys to try one of the problems out. I want you guys to try one of the problems. We're almost done. We're almost done. So I want you guys to try this one right here in Peer Deck. All right. So go to Peer Deck, see if we can figure out the answer. So go to Peer Deck, see if you can figure out the answer. So your first step is identify the A, B, C, and D. All right. Identify what number is A, what number is B, C, and D. And then usually I like to write it on the side like that. But you don't have to. I see students who are too lazy to do this. They right away trying to skip ahead. It's fine if you think you can handle that. That's absolutely fine. But I usually try to make it a little bit more clear on the side. If you think you can skip right ahead and just put the numbers right in, that's fine. All right, so figure out what A, B, C, and D, and then plug them in. So be very careful when you are doing the bottom right here, the denominator. Most people make mistakes on right here, the denominator, because with the multiplication and then also the subtraction, it's just too easy to mess up. So be very careful. All right, so A is 11, B is -5, C is 2, D is -1. Right now, you're going to plug it in according to the formula that I gave you on the upper right. Plug those numbers in. All right, I see most of you guys are plugging in numbers right now. That's good. That's good. And then be careful on the matrix because the orders is now scrambled. Be very all right. I already see someone forgot about the negative on the matrix. So inside the matrix, very careful because this is a negative B. This is a negative E. So B is -5, right? So if you want a negative B, you need to have negative right here and then replace B with a -5, which means it will turn into a +5. So I'm seeing a couple of you guys are already messing up right here. So I want you guys to slow down a little bit. What's going on, Eric? On freak out? Very nice. Very nice. Good. Good. All right. So and then the same with this number right here. This is a negative C. So you're gonna have to be careful on that. So the negative B and negative C is always a problem. All right, the rest of you guys, can you give it a shot? Give it a shot. All right, Angelica, Angelica, you're doing it correct. You're doing it correct. I want to also give you guys a hint. So Angelica, look at my screen real fast. So the 1 over -1 right here, the 1 over -1, right away, simplify this into just -1, just -1. So it will be a little bit clear. Because 1 over -1 is going to be -1, right? So you no longer need to write the whole thing as a fraction. Just put it -1 and then you're good. But you're going in the right direction, right? Just keep going. Alright, so I see a couple of you guys are stuck, so I want you guys to look at my screen. So if you're stuck, look at my screen. Look at my screen. So the A is 11, B is -5, C is 2, E is -1. I need to do A times E. So that means right here, I need a 11 times -1 down here. And then I also need E times C. So that means I need a -5 right here and a 2 right here. And then the matrix, you need a E on the upper left. You need the E on the upper left. So you need a -1 right here. You need a negative negative E on the upper right. So that means -5. And the two negative becomes a positive, which means now it is a positive 5. And then the lower left, it is a negative 2. So we need a -2 right here. And then the lower right, we need an 8. So it's 11 right here. All right, now we're going to solve the denominator. We'll do the multiplication first. So 11 times -1 is -11. And then skip the minus sign for now. For now, forget about the minus sign. Do the multiplication back here. -5 times 2, which is -10. And then keep the matrix the same. Keep the matrix the same. All right, now you want to look at right here when you have a minus -10, minus -10, minus and the negative becomes a positive. Minus and the negative becomes a positive. So now you have a plus. So -11 plus 10, you will have a -1. -11 plus 10, you will have a -1. And then right away, 1 over -1 right here, you can turn it into the 1 over -1. You can right away solve it and turn it into just -1. All right, you can turn it into just -1, and then keep the matrix the same. Keep the matrix the same. All right, now all you gotta do is everything inside the matrix, has to multiply by -1. Everything inside the matrix has to times -1. So can you guys give me the answer? All right, and well done. All right, come on, guys. Do me a favor. Give it a try. I'm already doing all the work, so I need you guys to give it a try. I want you guys to ask me. All right, Hammer, got it. And Jail, got it. Good, good, good. Hazel, all right, Nat, got it. Thank you. All right, so the final answer is going to be +1, -5, +2, -11. That's the final answer. So this time, inverse looks really nice. No fraction, no decimal, you know. So it's just down to, it's just down to chance. Sometimes you get really ugly numbers. Sometimes you get really ugly numbers. All right, so make sure you guys copy this down on your notebook or take a picture of the cell phone. On the test, you will definitely see problems like this. All right, so let's do one last problem. This is the last one. I want to do one more just to make sure you guys understand. So it's the same type of problem. Same type of problem. I want you to find the inverse of matrix R. Find the inverse of matrix R. So do the exact same thing. So figure out what's A, and then B, and then C, and D, and then plug in the numbers. Plug in the numbers. And then be careful of the matrix right here on the right because the orders is all scrambled, not the same order. Be careful on that. So the final answer of this is really out there decimal or fraction. So give it a shot. Let's do the last one. All right, I see some of you guys are going super fast. Okay, good, good, good. Ready, figure out the key and plug in the numbers. Good. All right, Angela, keep going. Angela, are you stuck on the matrix? Make sure you don't mess up the order, right? New order is kind of messed up. It's all scrambled. Okay, okay, good, good, good. Keep going, Kendra. Good. All right, let me see. Okay, Tanisha, good. It's looking pretty good. Hazel, pretty good. Natalie, trying to figure out what to put in there. Wait, what? Wait, Justin, I think you're eighth year, right? So what are you doing here? Don't worry, it's actually not easier than you think. So Natalie, look at the formula on the upper right. Plug in the ABC. All right, I think some of you guys have the answers already. All right, and Jacqueline, well done. So can jail either as a fraction or you can do use decimal. Doesn't matter. I personally prefer fraction. All right, the rest of you guys give it a try. All right, can do it. Nice. Keep the fraction, simplify it. That's it. That's it. Good. All right, so anyone look at my screen? A little help. So the A is positive 3, B is negative 2, C is negative 4, and then D is positive 6. Now you're going to have to put in A times D, which means 3 times 6 right here. And then you also want to plug in B times C, which is negative 2 and negative 4 right here. And then the matrix is all scrambled. You gotta be careful. E is on the upper left. You need a 6 right here. And then you need a negative E. So you need a negative, negative. The 2 negative becomes a positive. And then the C is a negative C. Is a negative C. That means you need to have a negative, negative 4. And then the 2 negative becomes a positive. Now you have a positive 4. And you need the A lower. Now go ahead and solve the multiplication. You'll get 18. And then next to negative 2 times negative 4, you'll get a positive 8. 18 minus 8 is 10. And then the 110, I want to multiply with every number in the matrix. So basically, everything inside the matrix times 1 over 10. Hammer, you have some of the numbers incorrect. So double check the denominator. Double check on the denominator. You have, why do I 3 times 6? Because I need A times E. I need A times E. So A is 3, E is 6. That is why I put it right here. Yeah, so be careful. Orders are messed up. All right, let me go over the answers. So the last part, every number has to times 1 over 10. Every number has to times 1 over 10. And then after that, I want you to simplify. Simplify the fraction. You can simplify it or you can change it into a decimal. Doesn't matter. So this is your final answer. So you can choose either fractions or decimal. It doesn't matter. But on the exam, you better be able to convert, change between decimal and fractions because I may give you fractions, I may give you decimal. All right, so copy this down on your notebook. So that's it for today. I want you guys to get the homework. So the homework is on the hub. So go to the hub. So go to the hub, go to plants, and then scroll down to matrix, which is of October 26th. And then your work is right here, matrix inverse home. All right, so I want you to work on this. You have 1 week to finish this. If you start doing it right now, you will be done in 15 minutes. It's not really long. So finish it and submit it on the hub. Turn it in before the deadline, all right? So I want you guys to stop missing assignments because most of you guys who are failing is because you guys are missing homework assignments. Every time that you miss assignments, your grade's gonna get lower. So do me a favor, please go ahead and do your homework and then submit it on time. All right, so today is Friday. Next week, since we have star test, I have to be proctoring the star test. So I'm not going to be in class. I will most likely not going to be in class. 8 and 10, I don't know, but chances are I will not be here. So if I'm not here in class, I want you guys to work on the exam review paper. So you guys have an exam on the 17th, all right? On the 17th, right before the Christmas. So I won't see you guys next week, most likely. I want you guys to be working on the review paper, and then we'll do some good review on 15th, and then on the 17th, you guys will be in the exam. All right. So once again, next week I'm not around. You guys to go to the hub, and go over here under matrix. There will be a review paper. There will be a point 3 review paper right here. So that is for next week on Tuesday and Thursday. So let me say it again. Next week, I will most likely not going to be in class because of the STAR test. So if I'm not here, I want you guys to go up, go back to the operation week of October 26th. You will see a point review paper. I want you guys to work on it on Tuesday and on Thursday. So next week, on Tuesday and Thursday, I want you guys to work on the chapter 3 review paper. And then I will see you guys again on the 15th. All right, so that's it for today. Thank you for participating. I think most of you guys are doing pretty good today. You guys did your work, and I can tell that you guys are doing your work. So thank you for doing your best, giving your best, doing so much effort. I will see you guys probably 2 weeks from now. All right, have a good weekend. All right, see you later. All right. See you later, guys. Have a good one.